Welcome to New Media 12. Here's an introduction to some ways that we can take a look at the big ideas and the content within New Media 12 and do it in a little bit of a different manner. I'll admit, when I first heard about new media being one of the electives within language arts and English, it sounded so promising. My son once asked, hey, if schools are preparing us for the future, where's the class on YouTube? How to use it? How to be on it? You know, the same as we do for writing, for acting, for sports, all these other things. And then I saw the course and I was very excited because it's looking at the idea of how text and story deepens our understanding of diverse, complex ideas, how people understand it differently depending on worldviews and perspectives, how texts are socially, culturally, and historically constructed, which means different now than in the past, and how language changes, and how digital citizenships have rights and responsibilities. Here is the class about YouTube, and more. Now, I tease that this is the boring stuff, but the behind the scenes stuff is that we do want to spend time working on comprehension and connecting to what you're reading, what you're listening to, what you're viewing. It's understanding and appreciating the complexities of what all these parts are. How can we bring in First Peoples perspectives? How can we understand the diversity across First Peoples society and across historical conceptions and understandings of what media really is all about? How do you evaluate the relevance and who's not being heard? That's what we're going to look at a little bit more. Are some voices that kind of get put off to the side of the library cart, and this time we need to put them more to the front. So I like that we want to get into the boring stuff about some of the different forms and the complexities, but I don't think enough people are really going into the right areas of what new media really is. It's not just about writing 5-paragraph essays, infographics at most, but different and differentiated approaches are going to be much more important, and different ways of getting that sense of story is essential, because that's what new media is about. New media is actually going back to the old school, before paper textbooks were even a thing, before paper tablets, which people were very concerned about being distracting, being the wrong way for kids to get information, and more about entertainment than information. That's changed. Likewise, we see a lot of new media being thrown under the bus with the same thing. It's a distraction. It's not the right information. How do you trust it? How do we move forward? Well, we're going to move forward. Because new media is all about this first sentence, moving beyond texts. We have a big history of what we think reading, writing, listening, viewing, all this good stuff is, but the media world has changed. This is a great opportunity to explore a couple key areas and do some project-based exploration into how these things are influencing our world and creating a meaningful personal construction between yourself, the media, and the world in general. Because closed captioning is great, am I right? I mean, everyone watches the words while they're watching the TV show, unless you're a psychopath and also use the light mode on your screen. So the fun part is, within some of these units that we're going to look at, what's the main way that we are sharing and exchanging views and ideas in our current world? Is it through essays and poetry, or is it through the new poetry of TikToks and X and some of these other social medias? I know things are about to get wacky, so follow me along and let's take a look into what some of this new media can be all about. Because I think as we've been looking at new media, we get kind of stuck on the content, which definitely frames things into, let's look at the books that are behind Landy's shoulder and take a look more at those parts and how that can be implied as a new media. Whereas instead, we need to really think about the metacognition and the way our brains are working as we look at not just multimedia presentations, but how multimedia and oral language and reading and writing all blend into different forms of media. So yes, a unit is going to explore comic books and how those pieces of language can help people do reading in more exciting and innovative ways. There are more rare words in comic books than any other type of print out there. It also allows us to explore graphic novels, if that makes the academic people a bit more comfortable, as people are using comic books as primary source documents in their history and research. And people are putting together more graphic novels and comic books in ways that you wouldn't think about it. I have a friend who runs the Harvard Medical Library, and yes, want to know about a comic book on how to do cardiac surgery? They got one. And as well, people are even exploring audio comics, which for me was like, I don't get it. Until I saw the next example. Then I got it.
Ducks, written and illustrated by Kate Beaton. In a hand-drawn illustration with black ink and monochrome gray, a young woman stands on the long metal steps of a massive heavy hauler dump truck. Its giant front tire rises almost 3 times the woman's height, and the dark rubber surface is deeply scored with the wear and tear of its hard labor. Beneath it is a muddy terrain scarred by the tracks of countless machines. The woman's small, pale form turns away as a ponytail braid swings to one side under a hard hat. She's dressed in jeans, with the cuffs tucked into low ankle work boots, and she wears a safety vest with high visibility stripes that cross at the back. She leans on the railing of the steps and gazes off into the distance towards a calm, bright ocean coastline. On the other side of her world is the Cape Breton Highlands, Nova Scotia, where a rocky cliff is topped with lush foliage. High above, between puffy white clouds, 2 birds flap their wings as they fly off into a clear sky. Across the top is the title, Ducks, hand-drawn in orange capital letters. Beneath it is the subtitle, 2 Years in the Oil Sands. In the bottom right corner of the white page, a mallard duck lifts his wings high and tucks his webbed feet under as he takes flight. A slate gray page. A young woman with fair skin stands facing forward with both hands stuffed into the pockets of her gray hoodie. Long dark hair and bangs frame the solemn features of her square-shaped face. Her eyes are 2 simple dots, and her nose is a straight vertical.
Into modeling and taking a look at the social media things and seeing how we can more effectively use them. YouTube's a place I go to get a lot of research and a lot of information. There's a lot of great nonfiction materials that are there. Instagram has an amazing way to present information and take information in, and TikTok X, it does build communities. Now, the problem I will agree with is without leadership, without guidance, without practice, these things can become overwhelming and can become very toxic. But when done well, they can be very powerful and very affirming and amazing forms of communication. Remember, poetry and the stuff we see as classical music was once the methodology for communicating rebellion and anarchy. And now we look at them as classical things that everybody should study. I can't wait to see who the TikTok archives are as to who we should have been paying more attention to later on.
When we were all in the caves, half of everyone born was dead before the age of 30.
Jesus.
Fast forward to 1840.
Sure.
That number went up to 35. Half of everyone born was dead by the time they were 35. So, in the tens of thousands of years between living in caves and the middle of the 19th century,
we only got 5 more years.
We got 5 years
Jesus.
on that. Okay? Since then,
Yeah.
with advances in medicine, and oh, by the way, everyone back then was eating organic. Just saying. And the water was clear, the air ran pure, the game was free range. Didn't make a damn bit of difference. Science matters here, okay? All right? You can run around and eat all the organic you want.
Okay.
You'd be dead by the 30 unless some doctor came in and said, we can increase your life expectancy using science.
You're directing this at me as if I'm RFK Jr. I'm not. I'm just telling you I'm not. Okay.
Hold me back.
All right.
Let me go back.
Don't you sometimes wish that you could play a video game and get credit for it? Yep, we're going there. Video games are huge. It is a bigger industry than movies, a bigger industry than publishing, and yet we spend no time on it. And yet the sense of story and the characterization and everything that goes along with it is phenomenal. So yeah, we're going to explore a few of the retro games to see how some of the very 2D starts to the video game franchises had stories emerge from them, how community has been built and connections made through video game formats, and how world building has occurred, and more exploration and interactivity happens in video games than ever thought possible once before. And of course, there's always going to be opportunities for personal passion projects to be followed as well. We're going to have bonus levels that appear throughout the course and throughout the time together with the teachers and all over the place. You might want to be doing an exploration on Pokemon as a way to combine everything. They've got graphics and trading cards are phenomenal. Huge games, most popular ones that are ever sold every couple of years. Huge on the social media parts, big discussion forums. It's a way to bring everybody together. And of course, you got to see if you want to open it or if you want to keep it sealed. And as an exemplar to see what a project might look like, here's some Canadian-themed Pokemon that came out of a very similar type of project, looking at how we can communicate out via a Pokemon format. And we never know what else is going to influence us. Microsoft made the Coast Salish experience come alive in Minecraft, where a lot of voices have been appearing, and it's helping to build community and connections, all the things that we would love to see more of via new media. And again, how are you going to create projects? Well, this is where we take advantage and leverage some of the other new medias that are out there, such as language models and ChatGPTs and AIs. They can help us create and personalize project rubrics that you work with your teacher to help create a bit of assessment with learning in order to see what you might be able to do. It's going to give us tips, it's going to give us feedback. You're going to get feedback all along the way. Descriptive feedback is going to be what leads you to great intrinsic learning success. New media. Are we reading? Absolutely. Writing? Yep. Viewing? Absolutely. Drawing? Yep. Maybe. Presenting? Focusing on oral traditions? Yep. Immersing ourselves in the experience? Yep. And being technologized, because that, to me, is what new media is all about. Come join us in New Media 12.